I'm Paulina Leiser, producer of Focus Today. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to check our other videos at theDove.us.
Welcome back. Well, it has been a long time since we've talked to our next guest, pastor, attorney. Dr. Scott Lively's with us, and I understand he's coming to Southern Oregon to do some speaking as well. But we want to talk to him today about the recent Supreme Court decision to legalize same-sex marriages. Scott, good to see you. Gee, you look wiser and grayer.
More grayer than wiser, I think. Yeah.
Good to see you. How you doing?
You too, brother. I'm doing very well. God has blessed me great. And my wife and I are on a summer speaking tour right now. We're in Riverside, California today. We're going to hit the road again today and start heading your direction.
All right. So when and where are you going to be speaking up here?
I'll be speaking on the 3rd at the Talent Community Hall at 6:30. And everyone's invited and welcome to come out to that. We're going to be dealing with how Christians can cope with all of the incredible, dramatic, disturbing changes that are happening in America. And I'm able to come at that topic both as a pastor and as an attorney and a missionary who runs an inner-city mission in Springfield, Massachusetts.
Okay, by the way, Scott's website is defendthefamily.com, defendthefamily.com. All right, Scott, we all are on tilt now what the Supreme Court has done with the same-sex marriage decision, and yet laws are supposed to come through the legislature, not through the Supreme Court. This opens up a lot of questions. The first one I would have for you is there any possibility of overturning this?
Well, we had an opportunity to ask the court to reconsider the case, and we pressed very hard. I was part of a group of people that were pressed very hard to get the of the 4 different states that were parties in the Obergefell case to file that motion. They refused to do it, and they were with them. Frankly, this is now the so-called law of the land, but of course no law is valid if it violates the law above the law, and Christians have no obligation to honor any law that goes against the Bible. All
right, so how are we supposed to respond to this? And I'm saying we, the faith community, in the sense that it's kind of interesting to me. Here we are a month or so on the other side of the decision, and the shock seems to be over. We've kind of just absorbed it and moved on.
Well, we've been doing that, unfortunately, for a very long time as Christians. This downward slide really began back in 1947 when Justice Hugo Black wrote the majority opinion in Everson versus Board of Education that declared separation of church and state to be a constitutional law principle, and essentially took God off the throne here in America and replaced him with themselves. It's the secular humanist Supreme Court of the United States. And ever since then, we have been in steady decline. Black also wrote the majority, Torcaso v. Watkins in '61, that said that atheism is a religion that has to be treated equally with belief in God, effectively legally empowering every militant atheist in America to attack Christianity in public life. And of course, they did that immediately. They took down out prayer out of the public schools in '63, and the dismantling of Christian culture has continued since that time. And the church has really accepted and gone along to a very large extent, acquiesced every single step of the dismantling of Christianity. And where radical militant homosexuals and atheists have taken control of our country, and the punishment of believers.
So what we're looking at here is, the bottom line is religious freedom. Everybody's now concerned about it. Thankfully, they're waking up to it. But is there anything we can do?
Well, I don't actually believe in religious freedom the way that the term is used. I know that when you use it and when most people use it, you Christianity. We're not talking about freedom for Islam and freedom for Buddhism and Hinduism as if they're equal with God. The number one commandment is, "You shall have no other gods before me." And when we forget that and we start accepting this concept of religious pluralism, and we say that Jesus Christ is really no higher in authority in America than Buddha or Muhammad or even Satan, that's when we have really dropped the ball, and we have brought disfavor from God on us. You know, ask the question, how is it that we could go 42 years with a large army of pro-life? I heard this news about the Planned Parenthood butchery that's going on. How could we go 42 years with this army of activists doing everything to stop the killing of unborn babies and barely scratch the paint on the bumper of the pro-abort juggernaut of death? If even one man, just one man, had the favor of God with the flimsiest of plans, he could have stopped that. He could have stopped the gay agenda in very short order. So what it means, we do not have the favor of God. And why not? Because we are not asserting the truth, that he is sovereign, that he is in control of America, he is the king. Think of all the patriots at the Revolutionary War who died on the battlefield with the cry, "No king but Jesus," on their lips. You know, we have devalued that blood, and of all the patriots since then, that battlefields believing that American values meant godliness and morality, not sexual perversion and killing. And that's the real, what we have to come to grips with. We have to begin asserting the fundamental truth of their so-called God, and that he will do that. There's nothing, I don't think, that's going to stop this death spiral.
Okay, we're having a little bit of a technical difficulty. If you can lean forward just a little bit, I think that will help. Let me ask you this, Scott. What do you want? What would you like to see churches do?
Well, we need to be exercising really the last right that we have, which is the First Amendment. And but that's being chipped away very rapidly. You see what's happened with the folks, you know, the bakers and the cake makers and the printers and all these that are whose First Amendment rights are just being trampled. People being fired. You know, the CEO of Mozilla being ousted from his position because he made a contribution to the Prop 8 campaign. You know, the First Amendment is being rapidly chipped away, but it's still considered to be a central American value. We need to exercise that right, assert the truth of God, speak the plain truth of the Bible without apology, and be willing to take the persecution that comes from that. The days in which Christians could keep their heads in the sand and try to stay out of the way and think that they're going to be able to live their lives, you know, outside the scope of culture war and spiritual warfare, those days are gone. And that, I think, is the best thing that happened as a result of the gay marriage ruling. Across America have waked up and said, wait, what just happened here? And realized that it's a different America today than it was a month ago. And that, I think, is a good thing if the remnant rises to the challenge and begins asserting the truth of God.
All right, there's two things that have happened, Scott, within the last month and a half that probably were given to us as wake-up calls to the American church to reassert itself back into the culture. And you know that, you're an attorney, this myth of separation of church and state. But the two core things that have popped up was the Supreme Court decision legalizing same-sex marriage, and now these tapes, these videotapes showing Planned Parenthood dismembering babies and selling their body parts. The two things that would force the church to take a position, and I don't know if we are. I don't know if we see this as an opportunity, and I don't mean this on a militant basis, but my stars at least stand up and declare what the scriptures say about both.
Yeah, and I think we're seeing the dividing of the sheep and the goats. I mean, what more evidence would any pastor need than what he has before him right now? So anyone at this point who is staying silent on these issues is doing so intentionally and with full knowledge that they're capitulating to the reign of evil over America. We really are now under occupation, like the French under. We're being occupied by cultural Marxists who are in power, and really they're in the consolidation phase right now. Years ago I laid out a stage scale that I've talked about all over the world. It begins with tolerance, then goes to acceptance of homosexuality, then celebration, then forced participation in gay culture, and then the fifth and final stage is punishment of all dissenters. Well, what the U.S. Supreme Court has done is established phase 4 as the law of the land. We are now all collectively, the entire country, being forced to participate in gay culture, and the consolidation of that, the implementation of that is proceeding right before our eyes. At the same time, they're starting to move toward step 5, which is punishment of all dissenters, and we're seeing people like the Kleins in Oregon and others, canaries in the coal mine. So am I. I'm being sued for crimes against humanity in federal Springfield, Massachusetts, for preaching against homosexuality in Uganda. Those of us who are facing these things we're just the tip of the spear. We're ahead of the curve, but it's coming to everyone. No one's going to be able to stay out of it. The folks that are pushing this, they want to come after every Christian. They hate Christianity. They want to punish. They're going to aggressively pursue every person, and even if just ask them the question, what do you think about gay marriage? Now, what are you going to do, Christian? Are you going to stand with the truth of God and assert the truth of the Bible, even if that means you might get fired? Or are you going to deny Christ, deny what he's taught us? Right? Everyone's going to have to face that. So we need to prepare for this. We need to realize there's nothing to fear about it because Jesus has us in his hands. And if you're persecuted for righteousness' sake, you'll be blessed tenfold for the amount of pain that you suffer. So don't worry about it. I'm more blessed than I've ever been, and yet I'm being persecuted more than anybody else in America, I believe. Maybe a couple people could rival me on that, but that's just the way that it is. So let's wake up. And this is the point that I want to make when I come up and speak, is that we have a rich heritage as Christians in the work of missionaries. That being a missionary is the model for being a Christian American today. That we no longer can take for granted that this is a Christian nation with a Christian culture. We're no longer a God-fearing society. We're now in hostile territory, so we need to shift into missionary mode. And we have tremendous heritage in that. We have many, many witnesses and examples to follow for centuries.
Okay, so you'll be up here on the 3rd. You'll be speaking at the Talent Community Hall at 6 o'clock. Is that right?
6:30, yes. And I'd love to have resources, and we're going to talk about practical ways to be able to share your faith with the least amount of risk. We're going to be talking about where this is going, the kind of things you can expect as it unfolds and they start to sue people, how to protect your children from this, because they're going to go after the kids much stronger than they ever have. I mean, they're already doing it, but all of those things we're going to talk about. And when I speak, it's very interactive, so there's questions, and we're going to have a conversation about this. And I think everyone's going to be happy that they participated in that conversation.
Okay, that'll be on the 3rd, coming up next week. And let's see here, at the Talent Center, Community Center at 6:30. Scott, thank you. Your website is defendthefamily.com?
Yes, and also scottlively.net is my blog.
.net. Hey, thanks. Good to see you. Okay, thank you.
Talk to you next.
Okay, sorry about that, folks. We had kind of a Skype situation there that was kind of deteriorating. So that'll be coming up on the 3rd, and they're in Talent at 6:30. Well, let me just say that the other thing that I just kind of want to remind you of is a couple things. First of all, don't forget to be listening to the Jerry Bilden Show a little bit later on. He'll be giving away some tickets to the upcoming Dove Fest, August 23rd, out at the amphitheater there in Central Point, the fairgrounds. So be listening to that. I also want to say to you may want to get a copy, going back to this book, Gaining by Losing. It is a terrific book, and I think for churches that are coming to grips with, do we want to get bigger, or do we want to have more of an impact? You may want to check this out. It is put out by Zondervan. Gaining by Losing by Pastor J.D. Greer, and it is a tremendous resource. The other thing is, don't forget, every month in downtown Medford, there is a what we call an info picket. We did it yesterday, and it was really, really encouraging to see so many people come out. It is on the same block that Planned Parenthood is in the Medford area. And what was so good about it was very peaceful. The response to those driving by was very, very positive. And now, as more and more of these videos are going to continue to be released about Planned Parenthood and what they are really doing and what they are really all about, it's an opportunity for us to stand and make a statement on the defense of human life, and especially that of the unborn. And so the next time we announce this, which will be in a couple of weeks, to have one once a month, I'd like to see us at least double the amount of people down there. You say, well, what's this all really about? What it really is all about is just making a very positive statement that we don't want our tax dollars to go to an organization that is killing babies and then cutting them up and selling their parts. As gruesome as that is and sounds, that's exactly what's happening. So yesterday wasn't a one-time event. It was the beginning of a movement in Southern Oregon to continue to put the pressure on to defund Planned Parenthood. We need to do it. So we'll let you know, but mark that down. Come on out. It's a great experience. We'll see you next time on Focus Today.